Okay. Well, I can't see anybody, but I hope you can see me. My name is Dr. Leah Houston. Like you, I'm an emergency doc. And some of you may have seen me last year when we were starting this pilot. And since then, we've made some improvements in the app, and we wanted to re-invite everyone. And we wanted to kind of go through, some of the more long-term vision that we have for this organization, this company, and for us as practicing doctors. So I'm going to share a little bit more about decentralized identity today. And if we have time at the end, which it sounds like we will, I'll talk a little bit about how this is going to actually help patients in the future. And so for those of you who want to stay in touch with me, those are my contact information, my email, and that's my social handle. For those of you who want to follow on social media, I can also be reached out to on social media. I'm usually actually more responsive to that than email, unfortunately. All right, so let's go. So I just like to share this quote at the beginning because we as doctors and patients, have been made to think that we don't really have any power in this system, that we're just kind of, meant to go to work and show up and do as we're told. And that's not really the case. But we need to shift our mindset in order to really actualize on that fact. So, because we kind of are, rule followers as doctors, because we like to do the right thing, we kind of have put ourselves in this situation. This is kind of what's going on with us. And you see the doctor and the patient in the room. There's a computer, but she's not looking at it. She's looking through a bunch of paperwork. They both seem a little frustrated. But the most concerning thing about this picture is that there's a bunch of people in the room. And these people don't seem to have been invited. And the doc and the patient don't even realize they're there. And that's concerning. And that's the thing that we need to kind of work on and fix. And so this is the system that created this mess. This is what was put out by the Department of Health and Human Services right before the ACA was passed for their, explanation of how our healthcare system will work. And if you, think about it, it's kind of a failed system. And part of the reason it's failed is because the patient was kind of like an afterthought, kind of put off to the side. And if you look on the left-hand side, the doctors also down there. So the patients and the doctors were not really put at the center, and that's part of why this system failed. And so, this EMR dream is now a nightmare. I was a resident when we shifted into EMR. The HITECH Act was finalized in 2009, and that's the year I started residency. So I kind of experienced this transition and all these promises that we were told, but now we really feel, have noticed that it's not really been helpful, and that it's kind of a billing coding machine, and we've become data entry clerks, and that's a problem. But luckily, the US government realizes that this is a problem, and they just finalized the 21st Century Cures Act, which is a rule that it's actually an entire act, but there's two items there that are really important. Item 4003 and 4004 regarding health system record interoperability and information blocking. So they're going to force systems like Epic and Cerner and all these other EMRs to start having interoperable data. And some of you might have noticed these tools on EMRs already. I'm not sure if your system has it yet, but they're starting to implement these to try to be compliant with these rules. The other important rule is information blocking. Patients need to have immediate access to their data in a usable and understandable, user-friendly way. And that's another part of this. And systems are going to be penalized up to $25,000 per day per event that they are not compliant with these two new standards. So we're at a very unique moment in time where we have an opportunity to build the systems of the future in a way that are more patient-centric. And so we propose a solution of decentralized identity. And please stop me if you guys can't hear me or anything like that. I think I heard some rumbling back there. So decentralized identity helps people, organizations, and things interact with each other directly, transparently, and securely. And so with decentralized identity, individuals, people control their information, not organizations. So when you think about, like, in general, not even in just healthcare, right now, Facebook, Google, or social media, they all kind of control our right to interact. With decentralized identity, You control your right to interact. And so with these open standards that anybody can build with, we create an identity trust fabric where individual people, governments, and organizations can directly and fully control their own digital information. Now, when you think about it, this rule saying that patients need to have immediate access to their information, decentralized identity can be leveraged as a tool to be compliant with that rule. And we as doctors have the power to create these tools to allow that to be possible. And so for those of you who understand cryptocurrency, you know that a Bitcoin can be transferred from one person to another with decentralized distributed ledger technology and decentralizing tools. And cryptocurrency is a fungible asset, meaning one Bitcoin is equal to another Bitcoin, just like a dollar is equal to a dollar. Now, some of you may have heard of NFTs, non-fungible tokens or non-fungible assets. And these are like pieces of art that are digital and things like that, where they can be transferred between two people or two entities, and they still retain their value, but there's nothing out there that's equal to them. So if you think about it in the real world, tangible assets like cars and homes are also kind of non-fungible tokens, and the digital information around these systems, around these assets can be transferred just like NFTs are. Now, for those of you who aren't confused yet, not to go down a rabbit hole, but when you think about it, electronic health records are non-fungible and non-transferable. They're only valuable when tied to the individual patient. And so that's kind of the next layer and the next step of these new decentralizing tools, and that's what decentralized identity does. So if you think about us as doctors, our medical degrees, our residency certificates, our medical licenses, similarly, are digital assets that are only valuable when tied to us and our professional brand and our professional identity. You know, if I give somebody else my medical license, they can't go practice medicine. That's not how it works. So that's what a non-fungible, non-transferable token is, or the decentralized identity community calls these verifiable credentials. And so let's talk about credentialing. You know, those of you who remember kind of like all the friction applying to medical school, you kind of maybe blocked it out, applying to residency, all that work a year in advance. Those of you who are applying for jobs now might have a little taste of this, but for the rest of our careers, we have to deal with credentialing and identity management, and the burden and the onus has been put largely on us. So these, you know, we have an ability to fix this, but first we have to understand what the current system does. So the current way that things happen is, you know, a residency program like Norman Regional gives you a residency certificate, you graduate, it's a paper thing. You as the doctor take it along for the rest of your career. And when you get a job, you want to present it to a hospital or health system or even to credential for an insurance company. You have to show that to them and they say, okay, thanks for that paper thing, but we need to go check and make sure that that's real. And for your entire career, until the day you retire, Norman Regional is going to be contacted by these entities to verify that you actually went to residency and finished. So think about, you know, 30, 40, 50 years from now, will this still be happening manually? I believe no, and I believe decentralized identity is what's going to prevent that, what's going to fix this problem. So when the verifying institution goes back to Norman Regional and says, hey, did they actually graduate? Is this credential real? Norman Regional says, yeah, that's real. And it sounds like a quick enough process, but it's a really lengthy 4 to 6 month process that costs $5 billion a year on average. And we as doctors are losing potential income and health systems are losing potential revenue, so it's a big problem. So we propose a solution where we use these tools to build 2 interoperable products where systems like Norman Regional or state licensing boards or CME companies can use a system like Evercred or any other decentralized identity compliant tool to issue these permanent verifiable credentials into the wallets of doctors. Now, wallets can also be built by anybody. We've built one that's a physician-centric wallet called HPEC. But these systems can and will be able to interact with any other decentralized identity, open standards-based compliance system. And so the way it's going to be fixed now, you know, you're still going to get that paper thing probably for a long time, But with that, you'll also get a digital certificate, and they're going to hash or document proof that they gave you that digital certificate onto a decentralized data registry or a blockchain. And so you can take your wallet that has that digital NFNTT, the non-fungible, non-transferable token, that verifiable credential, and issue and give proof that that was issued to the institution. And when they read the blockchain, when they read the address of that proof, they know that that credential is real instantaneously, reducing all that friction, waste, time, etc. And so that's what we're offering today. We're offering an opportunity to be one of the first to use this application to receive your residency certificate. And so this will allow you, to move quickly between health systems, and it gives us as doctors freedom from unfair contracts and an ability to, leverage our right to work to be able to leave and move and take part-time work easily. And so, decentralized identity also can kind of reorganize the structure of these malaligned incentives that created that, dark cartoon that we saw in the beginning. Part of the reason that doctors and patients are so frustrated and so disempowered is because the organizations that the health systems are, or that the healthcare system is working within are top-down, oftentimes shareholder-controlled organizations that consider the executives and the shareholders' concerns over the patient's concerns. So these tools have an ability to give us as doctors a way to organize in an autonomous way where we kind of control the assets and can put our patients first and uphold the oath that we took. And so this system that was broken can now be fixed because patients will be at the center, and we as physicians can coordinate care around them. And if you think about it, the day that a patient is born or a person is born, the doctor signs the birth certificate. The day that a patient dies, the doctor signs the death certificate. So from cradle to grave, we are creating the authentic data about the patients. So we really should be given a mechanism to give them that data in order to be compliant with these new regulations. And that's also what this can do. And so for those of you in the audience, I can't see you all right now, but for those of you who have downloaded the app, please make sure it's updated. And for those who haven't yet downloaded the app, please take a moment to go to the App Store or Google Play Store if you'd like to participate in this in this project and start the process. And while you do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the process. Because this application is decentralized, because you own it, because you control it, the process is going to be a little bit different. It's passwordless. And it's also only one person can claim one identity. So when you go through the onboarding process, you'll enter your MPI number, and you are essentially staking claim over your professional identity so that no one else can try to onboard and be you in the future. Now, this application is currently in beta. It's very early. So it's not perfect by any means. So please try not to compare it to other production level apps that you've downloaded. But just to kind of let everyone know, I experienced identity theft where somebody was using my professional identity to bill under my name. And, I built this along with 400 other of our physician colleagues who funded this effort. So this is a physician-owned application, a physician-owned organization, and participating gives you an opportunity to become part of the DAO, part of the decentralized autonomous organization, and will also give you first access to any ownership that might be available in the future as well. So I do want to share a very quick video. Now we're hoping that we would have the ability to actually issue the credentials today, but we don't. So we're going to probably do that after this for those of you who have downloaded the app and want to participate. But I just want to show, while you're going through that, a quick video that kind of shows you what it's going to look like and feel like. And it'll just be a couple of minutes here.
Down here on the bottom, HPEC.
And this is the fake profile that we have, Brittany Albers. She is a radiologist. And so when you go to her inbox, you see that it says that Norman Regional has sent her a residency certificate. Now, if she doesn't know who Norman Regional is, she can click ignore and it will disappear and she will never receive that credential and never make that handshake. In this case, the user has to actually agree to receive any credentials that are coming to them. And so she wants to get her residency certificate, so she's going to view the credential. And if you look here, all of the data schema that we mentioned is here. We have Norman Regional, Pilot Partner, and if you look at the view button, you can actually see what the credential looks like. So this is her. She can now accept the credential. It will disappear from the inbox and it will appear here under her residency certificate. Now she had already uploaded her medical license and her government ID, but if you notice here, the medical license says uploaded, but the residency certificate says it was issued by Norman Regional. And she can open it again and see what it looks like. She can share it with an individual, or if she chooses, she can click the share button and share all of the credentials or whichever one she chooses with any institution that she chooses to. Now, she also has a notification here. If she goes into the community area, under colleagues, it looks like one of her colleagues, Crystal Achille, has asked her to connect. So she can hit the connect now button. She knows her personally, and when she clicks connect, she becomes a connection. Now she can actually securely message Crystal. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on this demo because it's a little bit longer, but I just wanted to kind of show you what it was going to look like and feel like when we do set up the Evercred system for Norman Regional. And so for those of you, if there's anybody in the audience who has already graduated, you can get those pretty soon. And for those of you who haven't graduated yet, you'd be able to get your credentials in the future. Now, I do want to clarify that this is a pilot and we are in beta, so we are not hashing to blockchains yet. But you guys being the first, you're going to be the first to have access to those tools when we do build those as well. So I was hoping that I could get a little bit of feedback. So, but it looks like it's, you guys aren't here directly. So for those of you who have any feedback, have anything to share, please email me. I'd love to hear about it. If there's any glitches or bugs in the app, you can email help, HELP at hpec.io. And my email is Leah, Leah at hpec.io. For those of you who want to share that, it's very helpful for us at this early stage. And so let's talk about the future. This isn't just about us as doctors, and this isn't just about our credentials and our identity. The long-term vision and the reason that we've built this is so that we can leverage this to serve our patients. And so, we think about our current medical record process. We as doctors document something onto an EMR, and when the patient themselves or another hospital or another practitioner want to access it, it's very friction filled or they're denied access. And so this is what we need to fix, and we can fix it with the same tooling that we fixed the credentialing problem. And in a similar way, the way that would work is we as doctors issue medical records, metadata about patients directly to them into their decentralized identity wallet. Now, we as a company don't have a patient wallet, but there's dozens of companies who claim that they want to give patients their data. We as physicians have an opportunity right now to make sure that they're actually owning their data. If they're not using decentralized identity tools, I personally don't know of any other way that the patient will truly have ownership of their data. And so that's another reason that we've done this, so that we can kind of drive the new technology movement in this direction. So when we create the record, we hash proof that that record was issued to the patient onto a distributed ledger or a blockchain. And so when any entity wants access to that record from a patient, if they go see another practitioner, if they go to a hospital, if they're on vacation in Europe, and they have an emergency, they can put a pull request for this data, and the patient has full control over whether or not they say yes to that. They can give and grant permissioned access. They can read the record, but they can also check the distributed ledger to make sure that that record is real and accurate and it was actually issued by that surgeon who performed the surgery, or the radiologist who read the radiology report, or the lab. There's going to be labs, that are going to have decentralized identifiers and can issue patients their lab results and the doctor, so that we both have copies. And so we don't have to go through all this friction of getting all this access to stuff. It's a very revolutionary idea. And so, it creates secure, direct connections between doctors and patients. That's really the point. But without us first owning our identity, authenticating ourselves, being able to prove that we are who we say we are as doctors, we can't create this future and this reality for patients either. And if you think about it, some of you may have come across inaccurate data in the patient record, or duplicate names, and you notice that somebody else's record was accidentally put in somebody else's. We see this all day, every day, and we have no way to fix it or cure it because we're not in control. So, and patients could have delays in treatment, or, all kinds of things happen. So this is really about patient safety in the end. And so this is the future that we're trying to build. We'd love for you to join us and be a part of it. And we have to also remember, we can't solve the problems with the same thinking that we used when we created them. And that's it. I would love to, if you guys have any questions, I'd love for them to be relayed.
Thanks. Do you guys have any questions? Can you forward us your the email and the other contact information that help, and we'll post it on our Slack account?
For sure. Yeah, let's see. So I'm across all platforms. I'm not on Instagram as much. Twitter's really my jam. But I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I started a TikTok account, but it's hard to maintain all of this stuff. But, I'm trying to spread the message. So I'd love for you guys to be a part of it, and message me with any questions. Again, help@hpec.io. If you experience any app problems, we have a customer support full-time. And at some point in the future, if you've downloaded the app and you've opted in, you can receive your credential from Norman. And you'll probably be receiving a survey from me if you do participate in that. So please, watch out for text messages and emails from us, so that we can get some feedback and, make this better for people in the future, and make sure that we make it better for you as well.
Great. All right. Anybody? Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Take care, everyone.
All right. We'll see ya.